Well, hey everybody, it's John back, Lake Erie Chestnuts, working on the farm today, doing a little bit of habitat improvement. Going to work on some of the chestnut trees, but also some of my hazelnut and apple trees that I put in the tree tubes. Hazelnuts especially do not like tree tubes. Apple trees can tolerate them, although they can get pretty crowded. Hazelnuts do not like tubes, so I am going to switch them over. So as I've done before, I bought 2 rolls of 100-foot red brand fencing. It is 2-inch by 4-inch opening, and while that won't keep tiny rabbits and mice out, it will keep out deer, which is my biggest problem here. Anyway, I've got just over 60 36-inch sections, which will make about a 12-inch diameter cage here. I'm going to use my treated pine stakes. Those are 5 foot long. I can reuse this tree tube later if I want to. This is an apple tree that I planted a year ago. It's getting pretty tall. As I've shown before, I just take the wire cage and I cut right in front of the next 2-inch section, and that gives me something to tie, so I don't have to bring any additional tie. And I loop the top one and a middle one over. If you have deer really bothering your trees and you want to give them a little signal, you can leave the pokey ends out, and they won't do that too much. But then you rub against them and you will hate it. Never had them mess with a wire cage. So I just fold them over, each one. It's pretty quick. Kind of bounce it so that I get a little kind of pretty good looking circle there. The cage through the top and bring it back through the bottom. And you don't need anything else. And I don't put any strap whatsoever. That's just, it's very low wind resistance. It'll just wind blow right through it. One stake latched a couple times there. It'll be good to go. In 2014, when I purchased this property, I planted these northern white pines, and you see I just put a cage around this one this last summer. They're only about 2 foot tall, and you can see over here we have one that's uncaged, and what happens is they get rubbed on, chewed on. I was always told they're more of a starvation type tree, but clearly this tree is favored. Deer love the smell of pine pitch on their antlers. There's something about that. Is that fun? Puppy's playing. Army, 7 months old. Izzy, 10 and a half. Well, here's what I'm talking about. This is a white spruce I planted. You can just see that the deer rubbed, snapped it in half. They're not really grazing on it as much as they just snap it in half. And here's one that's still intact because it's between a multi-floor rows. And then here, very next one, shredded. Hard to see the contrast on this gray day. Wind's out. Look how gray. Now I wanted to show you this tree here. This is about as tall as me. And I tubed it a couple years ago. So it has been able to get the benefit of protection from a wired cage. It's one of the deciders that has led me to say maybe this is the direction I should be going. Now it's only about 1.5 inches diameter at the bottom. So, I mean, I would wait another 3-4 years until it gets to be 5-6 inches in diameter before I would consider removing that. And yes, it messes up kind of the lower branches, but at least you don't have the deer rubbing as much. Now, your days of being beaten up by deer are over. You're now in a cage, little guy. Well, true to form, I didn't bring every last thing I needed, so this is going to be my knife today. We're going to first cut off this tube topper that I put in. Then we're going to run this down this planter tree tube. It has some pre-built marks that you can run down, but really it's got a lot of ribs that you can just kind of run a blade down. I'm kind of creeped out here. There's a dried snake skin inside there. We have poisonous snakes maybe 30 minutes east of us in the mountains, but I don't know if anybody's ever seen one super close to here, but I just generally don't like snakes. So this tree tube's interesting. It's got moss on it. I don't know if we're clear here, but it's got moss on it. It's got a wasp nest on the side. A lot of problems you can have with tree tubes, but it did its job. Got the tree up tall, got a branch down low, but you can see the branch kind of self-amputated itself. Actually, it's one I cut that slid down there a while ago. It's got a sharp cut edge. And up in here, small snake skin, which I am not a fan of. Small, big, they all look huge to me. Hey, I know they have a role, but I don't like them. These you have to assemble over the individual tree. Make this a little more oval so it can handle the lean on that tree. Get on the uphill. Don't have to hold the hammer up as high. You can kind of deform the wire cages a little. I do like that. If I kept it perfect oval, you can see the lean on this tree. I can adjust it that way, and since it was slightly touching over here, I can just put a little pocket out. It can work around it. I like having that ability. So another tree freed from its tube and put into a cage. Another 4 or 5 years, won't even need the cage. Right now though, this smooth bark, prime for deer rubbing. So anyway, just a short trip here to the orchard and out here to the farm doing habitat improvement, helping out some pine trees, oak trees, and now some chestnut trees. We're gonna wrap it up, go for a quick walk around the farm, head back home. Got a big wrestling match with my boy tonight, senior. Trying to make it to states as a team tonight. So thanks for following me here. Give me a like and subscribe. We'll see you on the next one. Remember, if you're not growing, you're dying.